Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we're going to be providing an update on a biotech company that we've previously talked about on the channel. The name is Awakn Life Sciences, and this video is specifically going to talk about some huge news that came out last week in relation to this company. Now before we get into it, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a huge help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below if you're currently holding shares of Awakn, what you thought about the news that came out that we covered in today's presentation, and how you think this company stacks up to some of the other players in this space. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be providing an update on Awakn Life Sciences Corporation, trades on the NEO exchange here in Canada under the ticker symbol AWKN, and trades in the United States under the ticker symbol AWKNF on the OTC exchange. Now, as you can see, last week was a huge week for the team at Awakn. This is as of close on Wednesday, July 20th, you guys. Share price was up nearly 33% or 23 cents Canadian on the session to close out just shy of $1 Canadian. So they ended Wednesday's trading session at 93 cents Canadian. And this is a company we've covered extensively on the channel. You can see back in November, this company was flirting with $3 Canadian. And since then, they've been on a steady decline, you guys, which is now presenting a golden buying opportunity if you're looking for exposure to the biotech space, specifically for the treatment of alcohol use disorder. Now, if the huge move we saw last Wednesday isn't enough to convince you, Awakn Life Sciences actually bottomed out at 50 cents Canadian on June 27th. So the share price has essentially doubled in the last couple of weeks here, you guys. And they're really starting to see a lot of momentum at the business, as we're going to talk about in today's update. Now, before we get into the big news that came out last week in relation to Awakn Life Sciences, I wanted to quickly jump into their investor presentation and give a reminder in terms of what this company is all about. If you've missed my initial coverage on Awakn, I would encourage you to go back and take a look at those videos, as we do a deep dive analysis on their business model. Now, in terms of the overall company's objective and strategy, this is a biotechnology company focused on researching, developing, and commercializing therapeutics to treat a variety of addictions or conditions with a near-term focus on AUD or alcohol use disorder. Their objective is to provide effective therapeutics to people suffering from addiction who are in desperate need and really aren't finding the help they want with current treatment alternatives. The strategy is to commercialize their R&D pipeline across multiple different channels and really get these treatments in the hands of physicians around the world to help combat these widespread conditions which are plaguing our society. Now, the next slide here really talks about the business model. So again, backed or underpinned by research and development, the purpose of the R&D program at Awakn is to develop world-leading therapeutics to treat addiction. And that's actually what we're going to talk about, some of their clinical trial progression in the next article here. Then the second step is the commercialization. So that's broken out into clinics. So building out a platform to deploy the therapeutics that are developed through that research and development business to generate clinical data to support interactions with regulators and payers, and then obviously generate revenue, which is going to keep the business moving forward and drive additional value for shareholders. Now, the second point here is about commercialization of the therapeutics. So this is going to enable third-party addiction treatment centers to deploy more effective treatments to their patients. So this could take the form of licensing and again expanding the reach in which these treatments can be administered. Now, in terms of the actual news or developments that have come out since our last update on Awakn Life Sciences, there's two I wanted to specifically focus on in today's video. The first came out July 15th, and it talks about Awakn Life Sciences providing a business and corporate update. So there's some bullet points I wanted to quickly run through here. Number one, you guys, they've now launched their beta phase of their licensing and partnership business in North America. So again, expanding the reach of these treatments. Awakn has now signed an MOU or a memorandum of understanding with multiple well-established clinics here in North America. And once these agreements are signed, the clinics will be given access to Awakn's proprietary ketamine-assisted therapy for AUD, or again, alcohol use disorder. Awakn's treatment is backed by successful phase 2B trials, which we've covered in our previous videos, and the results show 86% subsistence at a 6-month post-treatment milestone. And as we've talked about previously, this is miles ahead of any of the current treatment alternatives. Now, the second point here talks about Awakn initiating what's called its Innovative Licensing and Access Pathway, so ILAP application for its lead program nicknamed Project Kestrel. And this is a UK government-run initiative that supports innovative approaches to safe, timely, and efficient development of various different medicines. So Awakn's aim here is to accelerate the time to market for its ketamine-assisted therapy for AUD. Again, their front-running initiative, and this is eventually going to facilitate patient access to this treatment through the NHS, or the National Health Service. Now, moving along here, the fourth point, Awakn has now filed a patent corporation treaty, so PCT, for their MDMA-assisted therapy for treatment of AUD. So in addition to their ketamine-assisted treatment, they're also pursuing MDMA-assisted treatment. This patent is going to allow Awakn the freedom to operate and pursue its promising research and results from their phase 2A trial. So again, adding to that intellectual property or moat of research and development that really sets this company apart. Now, two other operational updates. Back in 2021, Awakn had signed an LOI, or letter of intent, with a psychedelic company by the name of MindCure. Now, since then, MindCure has ceased all research projects, and as a result, Awakn will not be pursuing that agreement with MindCure moving forward. And the final point listed here is actually the departure of their CFO, Kate Butler. So Awakn has filled that interim position with Jonathan Held, who's the Chief Business Officer, and they've now commenced a search for a permanent CFO position at the company. And they then go on to give a little bit of background about the organization. So you can see comments from Anthony Tennyson. We've actually had him on the channel previously in the form of a Q&A session. So super excited to see comments from him. They note that AUD, or alcohol use disorder, currently affects about 400 million people globally. So a huge addressable market here, you guys, which we've touched on in previous videos. And then they give some additional information about Project Kestrel, which again is that lead clinical development program looking to harness the power of ketamine-assisted therapy to treat alcohol use disorder. So a really exciting update, and speaks to the amount of activity that's been going on at Awakn Life Sciences since our last video. Now, the other big piece of news, and a little bit more recent, actually came out on Wednesday, July 20th, and this one really talks about the phase 3 trials of Project Kestrel, specifically who's going to pay for that trial and the funding associated with that phase of the research. So Awakn Life Sciences phase 3 trial approved for approximately $2.5 million Canadian funding from the UK government, which is estimated to cover about 66% or 2/3 of the cost of that trial. So phase 3 trial is expected to cost about $3.75 million total. Awakn itself, the company, is going to contribute $1.25 million, and the UK government is actually going to chip in the other 2/3. So this marks the first psychedelic phase 3 trial ever to receive government funding. So a massive milestone, not only for Awakn, but the industry in general. And as you can see in the article, the UK government agency has approved a grant for 66% of the cost for Awakn to pursue this phase 3 clinical trial exploring the use of ketamine-assisted therapy for the treatment of AUD. Now, the funding will support Awakn's lead clinical development program, which we just talked about, Project Kestrel, which aims to deliver clear intellectual property, or IP, and marketing authorization/regulatory approval for ketamine-assisted therapy to treat AUD in the United Kingdom and in the United States. Now, this phase 3 trial is expected to be the largest ketamine-assisted clinical trial to date, and the only phase 3 psychedelic clinical trial to receive government funding. Now, Awakn is going to continue their partnership with the University of Exeter and the UK's National Health Service to deliver this landmark trial, and it's planned to be conducted across 7 different sites in the United Kingdom. Now, this phase 3 trial is the next step in this multi-step clinical development process, and as you can see here, this is on the back of the big news that came out in January. So we actually covered this press release on my channel as well, talking about the phase 2 AB trial results. So phase 3 is going to build on that momentum. It's going to focus on establishing further definitive evidence in terms of the efficacy of ketamine-assisted therapy and continue to progress this program towards eventual licensing. Now, Celia Morgan, who's Awakn's head of ketamine-assisted therapy, is going to be leading the trial, and she goes on to say, "It is a true honor to lead the team that will deliver this research. This trial represents a huge leap forward in the treatment of AUD, and I know this will be a great source of hope for patients we work with, their family, and friends." So again, not only a major milestone for the team at Awakn Life Sciences, but really the industry as a whole, and then obviously the people or patients who are suffering with these conditions. And really echoing that statement is the CEO, Anthony Tennyson, who says, "We're pleased with today's news for several reasons. A government showing such strong support for this new type of treatment is a global first. Secondly, working with the NHS to deliver this treatment in their existing infrastructure is a huge statement of intent. But most importantly, for so many millions of people around the world suffering from alcohol addiction, a new treatment hope has just got one big step closer. I could not be prouder of the Awakn team and our partners for making this a reality." So a huge congrats to the team at Awakn Life Sciences, Anthony Tennyson, and everyone who's really been involved in this clinical trial to date. And this news is really what propelled Awakn's share price last week, and the reason we saw that big spike in excess of 25% during Wednesday's session. So with that being said, you guys, and to round out today's video, a number of key developments at Awakn Life Sciences over the last couple of months, and I wanted to leave you with this slide here, which really does a nice job of summarizing the investment highlights. So they break it out into 4 key pillars, the first being significant growth and market opportunity. So as we talked about, huge addressable market for alcohol use disorder. Nearly 20% of global adult population suffer with some sort of substance addiction, and in addition to that, millions more suffer from behavioral addictions. So in terms of the audience or target market for these type of treatment plans, really is quite limitless. The second point is that deep revenue generating pipeline, so multiple opportunities for value creation across a range of different addictions, as we just alluded to. They've got that phase 3 trial funding announced and planned, which really de-risks that pipeline. They have relatively low capital investment, again, because of some of these partnerships and agreements the team has forged, and their clinics are already generating revenue, which adds stability to this business. Now, the third pillar is science supported by data, so really speaking to their deep R&D programs, their intellectual property, and again, that moat that surrounds this company. And the fourth and final point, which is really number one in my mind, is their highly experienced team and management group at this company. So they've assembled the leading experts from around the world in terms of addiction treatment. They've got a track record of research, development, and commercialization. The company's founder-led, and a significant amount of shares are held by insiders. And they've got a supportive investor base made up by a number of blue chip companies. So for these reasons, you guys, I definitely think Awakn Life Sciences should be on your watch list. Shares are trading at a significant discount to where they were only a couple of quarters ago. So the company is now trading sub $1, whereas we were in the $2.50, $3 range back in November of last year. And again, they've got so many catalysts on the horizon here, you guys. Huge support from the government, a rockstar management team, and a product that's really looking to provide hope and opportunity for millions of patients around the world. So an investment that you can feel good about, and at the end of the day is actually helping to improve people's lives around the world. Now, with that being said, I'd be super curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you currently holding shares of Awakn? What did you think about last week's news? And how do you think this company stacks up to some of the other players in the biotech space? If you're still watching the video at this point in time, hopefully you found some value. So make sure you smash the like button before you go. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.